Yo, what's going on there? Late
I
breakfast.
just, look, late because I wasn't home yet. I had to get set up here. Just now I'm good to go. Fucking driving in this shit fuck town that I can't fucking stand.
You got more excuses than a Slambino. I mean, than a Salvino. Sorry, you guys have
I
your your
yeah,
your names are too similar.
yeah.
Might be a reason
Well,
for that.
is he there? Did you get him there for the
Why would I have him
podcast?
here? Why would I have him here? I can't.
Oh,
I don't want to see his fat fucking face right now.
oh, I thought maybe you got him in for Tomato Tuesday.
No, please. I don't need him here. I think
No,
he.
you don't want him there.
I think he and I have discussed Tomatogate on his less popular show. So you know,
Yeah,
what's all the
yeah.
noise? What's all the noise?
There's noise. There's noise here. I'm settling my stuff down because it's just been 3 hours to get home.
Good. I'm. You don't understand how it like. I hear these excuses and they just please me to no end. That you're stuck in a 3 hour drive. You're like a shitty commute. It warms my heart. Like nothing makes me happier than your misery. I don't know why, but it just
Yeah.
does. It just does. I'm just like I'm warm and tingly like I already had 3 shots.
Well, misery is that it. I'm not even kidding you. It took. What was that noise?
The other phone beeping.
No,
Yeah.
it took 2 hours to go 39 miles today.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
yeah,
Good.
great, fantastic.
I love it.
I
Uh,
can't stop sneezing because oh the pollen.
oh my God, you sound like my fucking
Oh
my
fucking
my
Jesus!
soft ass roommate that complains about the pollen.
There's pollen. My car is
Listen, let
yellow.
me let me tell you something. We've got it's South Florida. You understand how exciting it is to be able to open the windows and enjoy cool
Oh
weather
yeah, yeah,
on
yeah.
the occasional you get like a 2 or 3 week stretch during the
Right.
winter, and then right around this time of the year before all hell breaks loose, literally hot as hell down here. Like to get
Right.
a few days in March where you can just open those windows back up, and
Oh, that's
it
beautiful.
was super windy, and he was just Mister like pollen head sneezing all over the place, and eventually he just was like, "We
Oh,
got to close the windows," and I'm like thinking, "Shit, man, come on, I
yeah.
can't even enjoy the little things in life anymore, you know." So, all right,
Yeah.
what are you drinking over there?
Same thing. Going with the black rum. Black rum.
Black rum. Is
It's really good.
what makes it
And with
black?
Doctor,
What makes it
I don't
black?
know. It's
It's
black
just
color. I have no
oh,
idea.
is it a dark color?
Yeah. Well,
Oh,
it's not like Captain Morgan's black on the bottle. Like it's just black rum.
oh, okay.
I don't know.
I don't know. I did like I thought that was the name of the rum instead of like it actually being like dark. Like whatever. All right, I'm doing vodka. I can't with you with anything else.
All right. Ready?
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's one.
Mm.
I think I made a mistake. I didn't even look
What'd
at
you drink instead?
I didn't look at what bottle it was. I think it's the peach one. Ugh.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
luckily my third drink is gonna be the same shot of that shit, but with
Ooh, I'm already burping here. One in.
the key lime
Ugh. Oh.
the key lime pie bang, which is the
Yeah.
best bang, the only bang. All right, let's get this done so we can talk
Go.
about the
Let's go.
important
Let's
things. All
get
right,
started. Cause you go.
here, shot two.
Ugh, Jesus.
Yeah,
Ugh.
that one felt
Yeah.
like a shot and a half. Oof. All right,
Ugh.
so I thought
Uh,
before we get in the
yeah, because
weeds.
we're getting the weeds because I just got to tell you one thing before we get started.
Yeah.
It may have taken me that long to get home today, but I just went and picked up McDonald's for the kids. And the lady's like, "Do you have the app?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." And she's like, "Well, download it and you get a free Big Mac."
Oh,
Boom, free Big Mac, baby. Got it.
so
So
are you gonna be enjoying that while we podcast?
I was gonna eat it while we podcast, and I said no because I don't want heat. I already got enough heat from him.
I
I'm not gonna eat it. Well,
it doesn't offend me as long as you're like paying attention and talking. You know.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead,
mean,
go. No, go ahead.
eating is fine. It's the cooking. It's like
That's what you don't
it's
like.
the banging and clanging. Like like that's the only banging
Right.
and clanging that goes on around you. It ain't It ain't weights
No,
at the
I've been
gym.
working out,
It's
pal.
yeah, you have. I
I'm not telling you my weight. I'm not, listen, I don't want Speedy to know where I'm at, but I'm going to just tell you, I worked out all week. I walked all week, lifted weights. I started doing my row machine. And I'm going to just, little hint here. I'm halfway. I'm halfway.
I don't
I'm
know.
halfway.
All I know is that XL
I'm
shirt
halfway.
looked good on Speedy today when he shared that picture. So
Oh, it's okay.
it looked
It's
good on
okay.
him. Looked good. I know you're not in an XL situation right now.
No,
You're
I'm
more of
not.
a 2 to
And
3 XL right now. So,
no,
that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I'm too. But
Yeah,
this Big Mac actually sucks. What happened to the Big Mac? What a downfall.
I know. It's the whole society. It's
What a downfall.
it's all one of these guys' fault. Obama, Biden, Trump, one of these guys.
It's bread. All right. So what are we talking about today?
Well, we definitely have Tomatogate as going to be our. I think it's going to be our big story. It's because it's like many stories within a story. But I thought before that. I mean, we don't do this a lot. But like most of the guys aren't worth us talking about too much. But Scott Hall died. Yes, was it yesterday? I guess it was yesterday.
Yeah, it was yesterday. Yeah.
And like, I wouldn't say he's one of my top 5 guys, but he's one of my favorite people that I've met doing this.
Right.
Especially when me and Jackie used to go do the autographs in the late 90s and early 2000s. Like him and Nash were the coolest 2 people. Like always the coolest
Really?
2 people. Like we've hung out with them. We've given we've given Scott rides places before. That kind of shit. I remember. I don't know. I don't think you have any stories, but I remember.
No.
I remember 2 Scott Hall stories. The first one was we were at the Tampa Airport Hotel. I don't know which one that is. If that's the Marriott or like the Hilton.
I never stayed there.
I don't
know.
remember which one's attached to the airport. We're like literally
Right.
like same building, and it's a pretty cool airport. Hotel at the airport. He came in, and I would guess he was already like enjoying himself a little bit. Probably had some adult beverages somewhere along the way. Maybe on the flight, and to be even more fair, because it's attached to the airport, it's not like he drove anywhere. So relax on that. But he came in, and there were 2 things that happened. I think he went to the bar first. It must have been he went to the bar first. Was kind of chilling out, and across the like lobby area from the bar, it was like there was this small lobby area, and off of that, to one side was a bar, and to the other side was like the counter to check in, or whatever if you needed something, or but that's where the computers were, and he saw Ray from across the way and was like having this conversation with him across like the whole area. Like
with Rey Mysterio?
Yeah, Rey Mysterio. This whole area. Really loud because he's shouting across this big space. And he's like casually calling Ray a spick like over and over again.
Oh my God.
But in this like playful way, and
Right.
And Ray, nobody's being offended by it. Like Ray, there were like some other luchadors there. I think Psychosis and someone else were there. And so I'm starting to get a little uncomfortable because he keeps like throwing this word around if it's starting to feel like the N word. I guess it is for Hispanics. And I'm like, the only rationale I can think is that, this is the 90s.
Right.
So things are a little looser back then. It's the boys, so he wouldn't be doing that unless everyone was cool with it. And also, technically, if he's not himself Hispanic, which would give him the pass, he's played a Hispanic in the WWE as Razor Ramon.
We literally thought he was Hispanic for how many years?
Right. We thought he was this Cuban. We thought he was this Cuban Scarface ripoff kind of character.
Right.
Like,
tricked us all for years.
like it was such a big character at that time that like some people that were too young to have seen Scarface yet, when they saw Scarface years later, thought they took that character from Scott Hall
Right.
instead of vice versa. So that was first going on, and then he goes to check in, and he's at the front desk,
Yeah.
and he is trying to get a room from this little like real like this little girl with bright orangish yellow hair, and they don't have a room for him, and he
Oh.
starts getting like again. I think he's kind of lit up, but they don't have a room for him, and he is getting loud, and he is calling her an orange haired cunt, and he's screaming
Oh my
and
God.
he's yelling to anyone that'll listen. I mean, this is tremendous. I'm just sitting
Right.
there happy as a clam spectating this because you read about these stories in like the dirt sheets, but you never think you're gonna be there to see one. And he just keeps going off on her. He keeps going how billionaire Uncle Ted can't afford to get enough rooms for the fucking guys, et cetera, et cetera. Like all like like just non-logical stuff. He knows he's working in front of an audience. There's some boys that are at the fucking bar. There's boys that are still coming in, checking
Right.
in, coming and going. It's like a whole thing going on, and it's going on for a while. They finally it's like I'm there, Jackie's there, our buddy Jeremy's there, I think Shane David, who is there,
Right.
and then Jensen's there, Valenti's there. I forget who else, but that's like the
So you get the whole cast of
the whole
characters
cast of
there.
the characters of our group are there. Bearing
Right.
witness to this. And I was talking with Jensen about it last night, and she reminded me that they sent probably the oldest security guy that could possibly still like hold a job. Like this guy had to be 100 years old. Was sent to go like talk to Scott and deal with this. And I'm like, oh my lord,
Wow.
this is not going to end well. And like to no avail because Scott's not having it.
Right. Right.
And he's just like he's indignant. There's no room for him. How can there be no room for? Yada yada yada. Finally, like some real cops show up.
Oh shit.
And they fucking right in front of us. I watched them slap the silver bracelets on him, and I'm standing there, and Jensen's like, "How come you're not taking pictures of this?" And I'm like, "You're right." And I had the camera in my hand because we're there getting autographs and stuff. So sometimes we would
Right. Right.
get pictures with them anyways. So I had one of those like remember those cardboard disposable cameras you would buy at like CVS or something.
Yeah.
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 So I had one of those. And I kind of like slowly raised it, and I snapped it, and I fucking scrolled the fucking film, and then I snapped it again. And when I snapped it again, Psychosis was like, "Come on, man, let's not." I'm like, "Yeah, you're probably right." And the shame is, back in the day, you didn't know what you were gonna get for like 3 days until you went
Right. Right. Right.
and dropped this film off and got it developed. And like when we would be on these trips, sometimes like over the course of the day, if we killed a roll of film, we would go get it developed the next day because then you have a photo
Just to
with.
see.
Well, not only that, but it would be kind of cool if you got a photo with like Hulk Hogan or Razor or Razor Ramon or whoever was
To get it
you met.
autographed.
You could get developed. You could get a 1 hour photo
Right.
developing, and then just have them sign it the next day. So that was
Right.
kind of cool. Um, so yeah, they fucking took him off, and he got arrested. That's one of his arrests. It was
Oh
like
shit.
I saw one of the Scott Hall arrests. It wasn't for like
Wow.
DUI or anything. It was just for.
Good story though.
I mean, he was just a little off the handle and caused a fucking public scene over not having a.
Right. Right.
I mean, he was already
Well, weird
causing.
that he didn't have a room though. Like.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I guess they just book a block, and they fill them
Right.
as they go, because they don't know. Because WCW was always kind of like seat of your pants, no matter what. There was like a slight less level of professionalism than WWE. So WWE
Right.
may have had everything reserved in people's names, or back then not. I think they were just. I think back then WCW was a classier outfit. I think
Right.
WWE
I'm
was
sure.
like
Yeah.
those guys were all just deciding to go to like uh, to whatever hotel. I know a lot of those guys would like share rooms and get something cheap because I don't think they're being
Right.
reimbursed. But I think both of them would reserve rooms, and if you wanted to pay whatever the rate was at that hotel,
Right.
they
You
were
would pay it.
reserving your
Right.
room at a slight discount. But some of these guys were really saving money, and they're like, "I'm not
Right.
staying there,
Right.
even though we get $5 off the room, because I could stay at the fucking Hojo down the street, and it's
Right.
it's it's only 20
$30.
bucks, yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we're gonna slam three of us in the room. They're acting like they're the
Right.
vandals.
Right. I mean, we listen.
Well, you didn't you
we,
weren't you
we
didn't have a guaranteed contract with a big promotion. You had a reason
we
to.
also didn't pay for. We would literally just like somehow mosey in someone's room at some point and sleep on the floor, and at the end, in the morning, everybody would be like, "Wait, what the hell are you doing in the room?" And like, we were like, "Oh, what do you mean?" Like, we just tricked everybody.
Right. Be
So
like, well,
yeah, that's a good story though. I only met Hall one time
yeah.
in Orlando, but I mean he's cool. I mean, he's with Larry Zbyszko. But,
Oh, those
just
days.
funny as fuck.
Those days.
Yeah, those
Okay.
days.
The Central
Yeah.
Florida
So,
days. So,
yeah.
I mean, the other story. It's ironic. Both of them are kind of like rowdy, sort of rowdy Scott Hall stories.
Right.
But I mean, we had so many times where we were just around him and he was cool. We gave him rides places sometimes, et cetera, et
Right.
cetera. I mean, so I don't want to paint him in any kind of bad light because I have nothing but I understand that some people maybe that worked with him might have had some negative experiences. I mean, it's
Right.
whether it's politics or whatever, but or just personality is not. But I've never seen two guys like him and Hall and Nash. Also, honestly, Hogan, a lot of those top guys, Macho, a lot of those top guys were so fan friendly and so good with people.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They were. I mean, like all those guys always were.
So good with people.
Yeah. No,
But
they were. Yeah, they were.
but the other time was like Jackie and I were like I think like in North Carolina or something, and
Yeah.
we were down at the bar at the hotel. And this was like one of those like fucking areas where like there was nowhere to go, there was nothing to do. It was the hotel bar, and you knew
Right.
that closed at like 1 o'clock. So you would ask for like 10 beers to like have to drink
Right.
for the next 2 hours while you sat there because they stopped serving. So it's one of those types of situations. And I think there were some like fans in the hotel and whatever else. And there was a kid that was dressed up like fucking Sting, and it's like fucking it had to be after 11 or 12 if
Right.
not later, and the guy was kind of like not leaving Hall alone, and Hall was eventually like I've never had a bad experience with these people because I know how to like I know
Right.
tact, I know manners, I know like I'm not gonna go
Right. When the right time is
I'm
and
not
the wrong
gonna
time.
hassle a guy while he's eating with a kid on his lap
Right,
and,
right.
and that kind of thing. And this kid was kind of like pushing the line with some stuff or whatever. And Hall, all the guys there that night had been drinking. So Hall was like, finally got irritated with him, whatever. I think me and Jackie helped diffuse the situation. I don't have a lot of details of this one because there weren't, but we diffused the situation to the point where afterwards Heenan even came up to us and thanked us for like, helping
Yeah,
with
yeah.
it so that like,
Settling it down.
because like this could have been a case where Scott, if people
Right.
weren't
May
there
have
to
lost
help
his cool a little
diffuse
bit.
it, it
Yeah.
could have been another silver hand bracelets moment
Right,
for
right,
him.
right.
So
Jesus.
so I
Some stories.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sad because the guy got his life like cleaned up. He finally got
Right.
a hold of his life, got cleaned up, and
And even from like a standpoint, I mean, he was part of a really big change in the wrestling business
the
because
biggest.
guaranteed contract,
Well,
right?
him and Nash like changed everything.
Yeah,
Everything.
they changed the business.
Yeah.
But people, and unless unless you're smart, like we are, you wouldn't. If you were just a casual fan, you would have never realized. But they were guaranteed contracts. They were big money contracts. They left
They were those
WWE.
there were those favored nation deals they had with WCW where it was like
Yeah.
if anyone comes in and gets paid more than them, they then get matched. They automatically get bumped up to that amount plus a
Yeah,
dollar or
they
something like
changed
that.
the entire business.
Because they had
From a,
that. They came when they came to WCW. They got that Hollywood lawyer, that Barry Bloom guy, agent
right,
guy,
right,
that eventually they
right,
referred like Goldberg to, and he might have been Hogan's
right,
guy also. So all those guys ended
right,
up getting
right.
paid like
This,
their worth.
this is
You know?
totally off topic, but
Yeah.
he's talking about wrestling lawyers. Did I ever tell you the story about Norman Smiley and my dad's friend? I don't know if I ever told you this, did I?
No, but I'm fast. I'm completely intrigued now.
So
I
obviously
don't
I
want to
know
hear
Norman.
anything about that, about anything except this at this point. Yeah.
So I obviously knew Norman because he trained. You know, he was like Rusty and him were close, and I trained with Rusty Brooks. And Norman had come by a lot, and he always came with his little plastic Publix bag with his gear in it because he was too cheap to buy a gear bag. And his old Cadillac that he had, that the guy was making WCW money, and he's was driving like an old Cadillac and didn't have a gear bag. He'd come in like a Publix bag because like Norman was cheap as fuck,
Well,
like cheap as fuck.
it's smart. I mean,
Right. Oh, of course, brilliant,
but
brilliant.
he was also, but I
So
know that he also like was investing his money in like real estate and
right, he
stuff
was
like that.
saving it.
Yeah.
Right, right. So we years later, like with my dad, and I'm with my dad, and we're like, oh, we're at a baseball, fantasy baseball draft. So I'm doing fantasy baseball with my dad. I mean, years later. Uh, I started wrestling. I met Norman in 1999, 98, 99. I didn't. This story happens in like mid 2000s, maybe even like we're talking 2000, maybe 12, something like that. So doing a baseball draft, and we're at this like mansion, and I'm like, man, this house is sick. It's a mansion in Boca Raton. I'm like, what the hell does this guy do? And he's like, my dad's like, oh, he's a lawyer. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like this house is insane. So we sit down and we're doing the baseball draft, and they got like a huge buffet spread. And I look over, and on the wall is a picture of this guy and Norman Smiley. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I go get my dad. I go, hey, how does he know Norman Smiley? And my dad's like, I don't know. So we sit down for the baseball draft, and my dad says, how do you know Norman Smiley? He's like, how do you know Norman Smiley? And the guy doesn't know that I wrestled. Like, I don't know this guy. Like, he knows my dad through, I don't know, baseball cards or something. So the guy's like, he's like, how do you know? So I was like, well, I was a wrestler, and Norman was trained by, with Rusty, and like Rusty Brooks trained me. And the guy's like, oh, get the hell out of here. I was like, yeah. He's like, I was Norman's lawyer for his first WCW contract.
That's
I'm
awesome.
like, get the fuck out of here. He's like, no. He's like, what a small world. He's like, yeah, I was Norman's first lawyer. He said when his first WCW contract, we went to Turner, and he goes, I helped him get his contract. I'm like, no shit. He's like, yeah. He's like, yep, I was his guy. I'm like, that is the most wildest thing that we're like, I was just totally mind blown. And he had all this like memorabilia and like just stuff of Norman because they were like friends. He's like, no, we're friends. I was like, get the fuck out of here.
That's
Like,
cool.
no way. Yeah.
I for a
Yeah. So it's
minute,
pretty wild.
I for a minute thought you were gonna tell me that this guy was just a huge fan, and then I was gonna
No.
wonder if he was this guy that I used to deal with on eBay
What
back
was
when
his
we
name?
huh?
Oh, but he was a fan, you're saying. The guy
Yeah,
was
yeah,
a
yeah.
fan.
This guy was a random guy on eBay. I would
Yeah.
get like, I would go on a trip with Jackie,
Right.
and I'd
Right.
have like, I'd have like 4 binders, like
Of autograph stuff?
of blank photos, and then when we
Right.
would come back, you'd get whatever signed. Like, you never knew who you were going to see.
Right,
Not
right.
everyone
So you just brought
traveled
the
and
binders
whatever.
with you everywhere?
I would have to the event, these were trips specifically to do this.
Right.
So I had WWE ones, ECW ones, and WCW ones back then, because this was
Right,
like we were
right.
doing this around like 98 to 2001, and eBay was kind of new. But Jackie
Right.
and I both chuckled because we would compare notes. There was this one guy who was like a huge Norman Smiley fan, but he was
Right.
he was like the kind of Norman Smiley fan that would have loved to, maybe like
Like
be
crawling Norman's pants or
to be
something.
of like service to Norman Smiley. He
Right,
would
right,
always
right,
ask me when I would have photos up, if I had any pictures of Norman in like
right.
really tight white underwear.
Oh, so he like wanted to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
with Norman
yeah, yeah,
Smiley.
yeah.
Okay, okay,
Or
makes sense.
and then like Jackie, because Jackie was closer with Norman. I was some of these guys that
Right,
Jackie would have like sometimes would have like not just autographs, but would also have like memorabilia,
right,
like used gear, or he for a while there he had a hookup with Jarrett's pieces of Jarrett's guitars every week that he
right,
broke one in WCW. Our friend
right,
Ross would grab the chunks, get Jarrett to sign them, and Jackie would flip them on eBay, and I guess everyone got paid. So
right.
every now and then, that guy would ask Jackie if he had any ring worn, unwashed. He made sure to say like unwashed, ring worn, gear or anything like. I
Right.
mean, it was just like this guy was like, you're like, oh my god, this guy's a fucking freak show. But like,
So he wanted, yeah, that is kind of weird.
yeah, yeah, yeah. If Norman ever did, if Norman had ever done customs, this guy would have been at the front
Right,
of the line, making odd requests.
right, right.
But yeah, it's funny those WCW days. I don't know what Norman got for a contract, but
Yeah, I didn't ask the guy with
no,
the
no,
money
no.
because I was like, I don't care
I'm
about
not
that.
asking, but I
Right,
mean,
right.
the fact that like, I mean, Norman was there a while. I don't know if he had more than one contract with them, but I know he also went
It sounded like it because the guy said he signed. He said I was Norman's lawyer for his first contract,
right.
and then because I said he said so he had retired, and then Norman had because like I think the first he said was I want to say it was like 3 to 5 years, somewhere in that range. Like,
Oh, the lawyer
and then I think
retired.
Norman, the lawyer, retired. He's
Oh,
a multimillionaire.
I didn't. Well,
So
no, I'm saying like as opposed to like Norman, like just deciding to use a different lawyer, which would have been more of an
no, the
uncomfortable
lawyer
conversation.
retired,
Yeah.
and I think his law firm that he had like just somebody else took it over,
Right. Right. Right.
and this guy had moved on to he retired and he just like wasn't working.
Yeah.
He was just collecting baseball cards and shit like that. So,
Well, he may
but
have.
yeah. He was like,
I
but
mean,
he his literal words were he goes like I wasn't just his lawyer. He's like me and Norman were like friends, and I was like, get the fuck out of here! Like that is mind blowing. But let me finish the story real quick.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I saw Norman after this. I saw Norman at was it NXT show or something. I saw him somewhere, and we got to talking, and I brought up, and he's like, I brought up the guy, and he goes, "What? How do you know him?" So I explained to him, we're at a baseball draft. He knows my dad. He's like, "Get the fuck out of here!" I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "I haven't seen him in years. How's he doing?" He goes, "He got me my first contract." He goes, "I didn't know shit about anything, and this guy went in and haggled with like Turner, and like everybody in WCW and all those guys, whoever was running it at the time, he haggled with them all to get Norman a deal." And I'm like, that's so wild. And I always wanted, like, I couldn't wait to see, like, maybe I'd run into him to bring it up, and I finally did. And I was like, I got to bring it up, you know?
That's cool. So he was already working for WWE at that point, huh?
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. He was with NXT because I saw him at an NXT show, I want to
Yeah.
say, in West Palm or something, and we got to chatting. And yeah, so yeah, pretty wild shit.
That's
But
funny. It's such a small
we're
world,
supposed to
isn't it?
talk about Tomatogate. What happened?
We're getting there. We're getting there.
Getting there. We're 29 minutes in, pal.
I mean, listen, it's a little obnoxious that you're clock watching. I feel like that going with the theme of Mr. Disrespect over here. That you're like you just go with the flow, man. Why you clock watching?
I
Everyone's
got things to
enjoying.
do.
Everyone's listening. Everyone's enjoying. You got to fucking be Mr. Clock Watcher. You got things to do. What do you got to do? You got to pick your fucking toes. You got to play you got to play Jets on Madden or whatever the fuck you're doing.
I won the Super Bowl with the Jets, pal.
I know. That's the biggest achievement the Jets have had since 1969. Let's relax on that.
Do you know what's funny though about that whole thing is when I played Madden, every time I play the Dolphins and I see at the end of the game, they always show the losing coach, and they show Brian Flores. I pop every time
You know,
because he's like throwing down like the book, and I'm like, oh, this is great.
if if the words "losing coach" did not apply more to Brian Flores, I don't know what does. So yeah,
Seriously.
so appropriate. Fuck that guy. But okay, so let's get into Tomatogate. Well, what was that? When was it? And give me your stories before I give you mine.
Well, I don't remember when was it. I don't remember the year. Now you're
Oh,
getting like it's muddy water.
no, I mean it was like 6, 7 years ago, wasn't it? Or was it less? Was it 5 years
I,
ago? I don't
I
know.
honestly don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Who
I
cares?
don't know.
I'm
What
just
what was the company called, by the way? I was trying to think of what the was it
what?
Brainbuster?
Yeah, Brainbuster Pro. It was it
Brainbuster
was
Pro,
your
right?
boy, your the third member of the Vandals, Johnny Vandal, who's the only still active wrestling Vandal that uses the name Vandal. Uh
Yeah, yeah,
although he kind of flipped it to being a first name. Uh
yeah.
Johnny and your boy Craig
Craig
Classic
Classic, right?
back from a triumphant run in Japan. Heavy, one wife and one child. Yeah,
Right.
he
So I
they.
just looked it up. It was May 2016.
Wow, that long
May
ago.
2016.
God,
Yeah,
dude, time
and it's
fucking
funny because
flies.
I just pulled up the Jim Varsalone videos of where they're not in order and you don't know what you're watching.
Would
And
you?
it looks like the match starts off with
How would you just describe Jim Varsalo for people?
Jim Varsalone is a writer for the Miami Herald newspaper from when I was a kid.
Yeah,
So I
for
remember
like
being a kid,
at least 30 years he's been doing this.
right? Because I remember being a kid, and
Maybe
every
25.
Friday, the Miami Herald on Fridays would have a wrestling section written by Jim Varsalone. So as a kid, I would open it up and always read Jim Varsalone, his wrestling news on Fridays.
He was
Well, it
like
came to the point
there
where
were like two papers, and one was Barcelona and one was Marvez, Alex Marvez.
Marvez was
Yeah,
Sun Sentinel,
and
right?
Marvez is now with
So
AEW. So
right. Marvez was Sun Sentinel, and Barcelona was. But I used to read both. I used to read both.
sure, I
But then
did too.
it came to the point where I was a wrestler, and Barcelona was writing about me.
Right,
Right, that was
right.
cool. Now Jim is an awkward guy.
Did you?
He's a redhead. He's a
Would you?
ginger.
I mean, he
He's
was. He's no longer. He's an
yeah,
elderly gentleman at this point.
right. Older, bald, skinny guy with a beard, Abe Lincoln type beard, and he's a quirky dude. Like
He's.
he's fucking quirky.
I like him. He's cool. He's cool. He's
Love him
always been cool.
for right.
Hasn't changed since me and Jackie would talk to him back behind the War Memorial at AEW and chit chat with him, like which was like 20 plus years ago now. Till like me bumping into him last year.
Right,
Same dude.
right.
Same dude. Same
Same
dude.
dude, never changed. Right. So,
Great
and
guy.
Jim is like, right, great guy. Like, for 20 years, anytime I saw him, always come right, hug me, name, like, knew my name,
Hmm.
always was like, to this day, if I saw Jim tomorrow, he would come up and, hey, always like,
Would
uh,
you would
I
you
was in,
would you
I will
call
tell you a
him
funny story.
would you call him a South Florida independent wrestling fixture?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Right. He is. I'll tell you one funny Barcelona story. I was in Tennessee, Nashville. I was doing TNA, when, it was called TNA Impact, whatever, TNA. I was in Tennessee and we got there super early and we had some time before we had to be at the arena for the show. So I walked to Kmart and nobody wanted to come with me. So I walked by myself and I'm in Kmart and I'm just wandering around. I was looking for some snacks. And all of a sudden I hear somebody call my name and I turn around and it's Jim fucking Barcelona in Nashville, Tennessee.
What the
And
fuck?
he is ecstatic to see, didn't know I was going to be there because I wasn't a contract guy. I was there for a match for their television explosion taping. So he came up to me. Oh my God. He's telling everybody in Kmart that like I'm some famous wrestler. So like people are coming up to me and, I'm like, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, there was an autograph signing with like Jeff Jarrett or something. So now all these people are coming to me looking for my autograph because Barcelona's telling them I'm some big wrestling star from South Florida who's making his TNA debut tonight. Yeah, it was the coolest. I never forgot that day. Like, never forgot that day because I was like, he was so putting me over, and like maybe in his mind I was. I don't know. I don't even know, but it was fucking cool because everybody was like, oh, coming up to me, and I'm just some jabron who's working a match for their TV show. It's probably going to be a squash. So
Well,
Jim was always good to me.
but he saw in you potential that you obviously with your track record
Didn't see for myself.
were never going to achieve, be it donuts
Yeah,
or real life or
right,
just a lack of fucking
right,
work
right.
ethic. I don't know what you want to call it with wrestling, but yeah. By the way, one more side note. I just got an alert that Madison Fives liked one of our
Right?
TikTok videos. By the way,
Oh
so
Jesus! No, hopefully no one were trashing her dad.
I haven't put one of those up in a while, but yeah, just I
Yeah.
I don't think she narcs on us. I think she just
No, she
has.
doesn't like him either, so
Yeah,
it's okay.
yeah. I think she's team Breakfast Club at this point.
Right, even his own kids hate him. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So
So anyway, let's get to Tomatogate here because you're running dinner times here. So
I
uh,
am making a mental. I told you to eat the Big Mac. I'm making a mental note.
I already ate it.
I
It's
am.
garbage.
I'm making a mental note to
Yeah.
uh, have Jim Varsalone on the show, and
Oh,
Have Madison Fives on the show.
yes, yes, yes. So here, let's talk about sidetrack here. Uh, I got the hunger burps. So to me, May 2016, Brainbuster Pro Wrestling. It was in Pompano Beach, Florida,
was
at
it
like an Elks Lodge.
was it in Pompano?
It
Was
was in
it?
Pompano. It was in Pompano at Elks Lodge,
Mhm.
right where the blimp is. The blimp takes off. What do they call it? The Goodyear blimp.
Goodyear
It
blimp.
was right there.
That's always such a
Yeah.
cool
So
thing. That's like they've got a big
right,
like
like hanger. Yeah,
yeah, like a hanger, and this thing
yeah, yeah.
like kind of inflates. It floats up out of it. It's kind of cool.
So the match was me and Marco, Sean Prime, versus
Former
Johnny Vandal
former
and Craig
Breakfast Club
Classic.
member,
Former,
former podcast partner,
right, former everything. Uh, so
former adult without a ball and
without a
chain
child,
attached to him.
yeah. So the match, for some odd reason, I don't know what prompted us to make this match. We were going to be the main event, and the match was fans bring the weapons. So, like
Wait,
in
who were you guys
hindsight,
working? Who were you guys working?
it was me and Mark against Johnny Vandal and Craig Classic,
Oh,
who
okay.
owned the company.
Right. So it's
So
like
in hindsight, right?
all the big
But
shots.
saying fans bring weapons, like it sounded like a great idea, like before the show,
It was
until we got to the show.
it looked like a logistical nightmare because
Right,
people were
right,
showing up with all
right,
kinds of shit, all
right,
kinds of shit, and I think you were
right.
supposed to turn it in.
No, nobody turned it in.
No, everyone
Nobody
turned it
turned
in,
it
and
in.
then it was like like a pile of plunder that you guys were supposed
Yeah,
to
but
come.
people were like breaking things out like that they had like hidden and didn't like. It was. I remember
There
back
was
in then the
that too.
message board.
There was that
That I
too.
will tell you this
Yeah.
on the message board where I started it and I said, "Let's up the ante. Fans bring weapons." I'm the one who said it.
Oh my God.
Well,
Can I draw a
right.
parallel to that?
Yeah.
That was like when we did remember the night all hell broke loose at FSCW
Right.
when we had the ladder match,
Yeah.
and your boy Seth, who I had given an opportunity that I think it was that weekend after he had
Yes, it
fucked up
was.
with me with the fucking t-shirts, I said, yeah, come on back, do some fucking live commentary with you and Blake. That
Right.
he, like, when the ladder match was coming up, it was supposed to just be a ladder match. And instead, because we were running long, he was like, he like made an announcement after the match, like, next, and he called it a tables, ladders, and chairs match. And it wasn't supposed to be that. And then
Right.
somehow that got everyone in the back hyped up to do this crazy hardcore match that almost got fucking John Beaver killed, et cetera, et cetera.
Killed. Right. Right.
So it was
Yeah.
like kind of like you were doing the same thing where you're on a message board getting people fucking
Right.
worked up.
Well,
Oh my
okay. So
God.
I wasn't thinking about it. Like I wasn't thinking, and
That's usually a
I,
recipe for disaster.
I, I wasn't thinking. But I remember one comment someone said, "Can I bring a gun?" And I'm like, "Oh shit, this is gonna get out of hand."
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, "No, no, 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 we're not killing anyone. We're just wrestling." Like, and the guy thought like, yeah, I don't know what the fuck he thought. So anyway, we get to the show. We're the main event. Like, I started seeing the weapons come in. I started getting nervous, and I was like, "Whoa, this did not go how I thought."
Right.
Like, I fucked up. I fucked up. Like,
Right.
you know.
But
And
at
Johnny
least
was getting nervous.
but at
Craig was
least
getting
at
nervous.
least they were sort of being like, turn all the weapons in so we could put them
Right,
around
right,
the ring and use them. It was an excuse to turn the weapons in. We didn't want people in the crowd having weapons, which I guess was they were trying to avoid that. But to a little
right,
to mixed results. But go ahead.
right. So the match starts, and it's just chaos already because it was a very packed crowd, a
Yeah.
very rowdy crowd. Uh, it was they served alcohol. I do remember that there was a bar in the
There
back,
was
so it was a
not only was there a bar, and it wasn't in the back, it was off to the side.
side, right? Yeah, yeah,
That also it not only did they serve beer, but they served liquor.
liquor, right? Like this
And
was just a bad recipe all
and
around.
whatever this was, whether it was an Elks Club or something like one of those
Yeah, it was
types
like an
of
Elks
places,
Club. Yeah, yeah,
it had a really low ceiling. Where like
right,
if you were a tall guy trying to do something off the top rope, you're fucked.
right,
There was no way you were doing
right,
it
right,
without hitting those ceiling tiles. It had the drop
right,
ceiling in there.
right.
Yeah.
So the match starts, and it's like me and Marco get to the ring, and I don't know what, like, we were instantly bad guys, and like people were just like angry at us, and we were talking shit, and we had done some promos going into it where we talked some shit, and
Were you
like it
doing
was
Breakfast Club or were you just like
no, we were just two assholes.
okay.
But we were doing Breakfast Club, but we didn't. We were talking about that. So that's what kind of prompted people to bring food, and that's where we come to this. So people brought food because we were the Breakfast Club, uh, and the match starts or whatever. I just remember the match starting, and I think Marco. The match started. They get in the ring, and Marco low blows Craig, like punches him right in the dick. Like that's how we started,
Right.
and we beat them up, and that's when all hell started to break loose. Uh, People started throwing the weapons in. Like it wasn't even like we were going to get the weapons. People were like getting rowdy where they started throwing weapons and kind of like or telling us take this, take this.
Well,
Well,
because here's the outside, like the sitting
right,
in the seats perspective. Two things: you guys had no separation from the seats and the ring,
right. There was no guardrail.
and so there was no like official separation. You had no one like acting as like ring security, and then you had all
No,
these weapons like off to the side
right,
that people could walk over, grab, and throw into the ring. And so at
right,
some
right,
point, I got up with I don't know who I was with,
right,
maybe Jackie, and I'm like, we gotta like kind of like at least go over to the weapons and police that and make sure no
kind of
one's doing
protect
anything
it. Right,
crazy.
right.
Right.
Right, right. So I just remember we beat them down. Now we're standing in the ring, me and Marco, and we face like the larger side of the ring where most of the crowd is.
Right.
And we started talking shit. And next thing I know, it was the tomato first, wasn't it? Is that what was thrown first? Was the tomato,
I
right?
don't know.
Yeah, it was. A tomato goes because somebody threw a tomato and it went whizzing by like
There
our
was
head.
when I saw
And
the
I was like,
tomatoes start flying, I looked and like 3 rows back or 4 rows back on that
right,
side, there was someone that had two fucking like Publix bags, like those plastic
yeah,
shopping bags
right,
full of tomatoes. And I'm like, oh my
right,
god, oh my god.
right. So the tomato gets thrown the first. I remember, and it like kind of whizzed by my head, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And that's when
Did you know it
people
was a
started
tomato?
throwing. I saw that it was a tomato because I
Okay.
saw it coming, and I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck was that?"
I mean, you're
But I
Italian, and
remember
so you might like at a high speed be able to recognize a
catching or
tomato
something, right?
flying at you.
No, I knew what it was, but what happened was once the tomato came, I kind of ducked, and that's when I think people got the idea. Oh, we could start throwing shit, and someone threw that. I like ducked, and when I got back up, I looked at Marco and went, "Oh shit!" and someone threw a piece of bologna and it stuck to Marco's right titty because it hit him and stuck to his chest, and he was like, "What the fuck? Did someone just throw a piece of bologna at me?" And I started laughing, and I'm like, "Oh my god!"
There's
And next thing I know, a hot dog comes flying, like just the wiener comes flying, and the guy threw a couple more tomatoes.
now the hot dog, I guarantee, was bought at the concession. And
concession stand, right?
yeah, it wasn't like someone brought
Right.
a hot dog to throw. That was bought
Right.
to eat, and then they decided like to throw it. And the other
Right.
funny thing I'm thinking of is like when you get hit with a piece of like bologna, oh
Bologna.
like a lunch meat, I immediately go to like Howard Stern when they used to throw the bologna at the strippers' faces.
Yes.
And I'm
yes,
like, there's
yes.
nothing more demeaning than getting hit
Right.
with a slice
And
of
it's
bologna.
It stuck right to Marco's like right pec, like right at his titty. And we just both started laughing. But now, once they started flinging food, of course,
Oh,
the
it was-
antagonists we are,
Yeah.
we started antagonizing, and people were throwing. That guy threw a couple tomatoes. There was like more bologna. There was a hot dog, and then I remember someone had a Subway sandwich, like a full Subway sandwich, and I think he got it for himself to eat. But when he realized this was like a food for all,
Like a food fight in Animal House. Almost.
right? He threw half the sub, and I caught it. I remember, and I ate it. I took a bite.
He threw it unwrapped or wrapped?
It was like he threw like the sub. It was like half wrapped at me, and I caught it, and I ate it, and I put it in the. I took a bite. It was tuna, and I took a bite of it, and I put it in the corner. And he brought the other half of the sub over and put it in the corner too. And I remember at one point later on in the match, I like crawled over and I opened it up and I took another bite of it, and I just rolled it back up and like kept wrestling. And it was a tuna sandwich.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
So there was food everywhere. There was literally the ring was covered in food.
I missed some
The
of that.
building was covered in food.
Yeah, I was thinking like at some point I'm like, oh my god, they are so fucked with this building. They're never gonna run here again.
I turned. So Johnny was getting nervous in the ring, and I turned to Marco and I said, "We're in deep shit. Like this place is a mess. Like there's no way we're not in trouble. Like we're in trouble."
Right.
And Marco's response, because Marco at that point he was Sean Prime to the fullest. He was like, "Oh, who gives a fuck? Let's keep going." And like he kept antagonizing, and more tomatoes were flying and bologna, and there was just and then the what was the best part of it all? What did you find?
Well, here's two things. I do remember two spots. I remember one spot, and I remember that there was a whole vacuum cleaner. I don't remember if that ended up getting used in the ring, but I do
it did.
I do remember that someone used the bowling ball, and someone sitting in the corner got the bowling ball rolled into his nuts.
I think it was me. I took it to the nuts.
I missed the whole sandwich thing with you because me and Jackie were trying to like keep the most dangerous items from being thrown into the ring. So we're like stopping people from throwing shit, whatever. I come across a guy that goes into the pile and pulls out like a loaf of like bread, like
Italian bread,
like Italian bread. Kind of hard and crusty, but if you broke it, it's a little soft in the middle. But it's nail bread. And what I mean by nail bread is these long fucking like iron nails, like probably 4 inches long, maybe longer, maybe 6 inches long, stuck through the bread at odd angles to make it like just like if you throw
like a dangerous piece of bread.
If you throw it, it's gonna fucking impale someone because there's nails sticking out of it from all directions. So someone grabs it before we could stop him and throws it, and he's so bad at throwing it, it like hits either the turnbuckle or the fucking
like the rope or something,
and bounces back and hits Ragu square in the fucking head.
Who Ragu is a fan at this point. He's a fan.
Ragusa was there also, like trying to keep. He was there with us. I don't know if he
trying to keep the peace.
I don't know if he was I think he was managing someone because he showed up with the bow tie and the glitter jacket and all that. So he must have been managing someone that night. But at that point, he was also like trying to help.
Okay, so he was already in the biz. Yeah,
he was trying to keep things from getting out of hand. And
Right.
by being there, and listen, he's not the most athletic person. He wasn't going to be able to duck nail bread coming at his head. So I just saw this loaf of bread that had nails sticking out of it from all angles. I'm literally reaching, trying to grab the guy's arm to keep him from throwing it. I am too late. He throws it, but he throws it so piss poor that it bounces
hit the
off.
rope.
It bounces off the ring somewhere and
Yeah.
comes back and careens into Ragu's fucking head. And Ragu literally sells it like bah, like Colonel Sanders in that
Ah!
what was
Yeah.
it? What was the movie? The Waterboy movie, remember?
Yeah.
when
Waterboy. Yeah.
when out of the blue a fucking football comes and hits him in the head.
Right.
It was literally like that. I am crying,
Yeah.
laughing, and also trying to like maintain order at the
but
same time.
I
And
saw it happen.
and I'm trying to ream out the guy that does it. And I'm like, what are you fucking doing?
I saw it happen,
Yeah.
and
You
I
just
see
hit a
you
guy.
laughing. I see you laughing. I see Ragu's like, the bread hit him in the head with the
Man
nails.
down, yeah.
I'm laughing. I'm telling Marco, Ragu just got hit with the nail bread. And yeah. Oh, what a scene that
Oh my
was.
God. And
That-
and
but-
also here's another thing that because you accidentally or intentionally with different intentions had made this a bring your own weapons match, that enticed
Right.
Marco's buddy Dave to come down from Orlando with some random chick to come to this match, and Dave brought Judy Bagwell on a pole, and it was like this dummy on a pole with a like a Xerox of Judy Bagwell's face stapled to the face of this dummy.
Right.
And he was just like,
Right.
he was just excited that he was hoping that would get used in the match.
Yeah, that whole night was, and then to top it off, their manager was Trina Michaels, who was a porn star.
I mean,
legit porn star.
was at that point she
Was, right.
She was in the wrestling business.
She was a wrestler.
She was a
right,
retired.
Right. She was done with porn.
Yeah.
A porn star. We're not talking like. And
No, and listen, I like her a lot, but
Me too.
but I have to give her credit. Like, if you ever go look up her
right, her porn.
what would you call it, portfolio in the porn
Right,
industry, it's fucking impressive. She
Right.
did some fucking Herculean things in the
Right.
fucking in
So-
those movies.
I don't know. She was like she was involved in the promos and this
Yeah.
and that and the other. So anyway, towards the finish of the match, we planned to like she was gonna get involved and like come after us. And
She
at that
managed.
point, like,
she
know,
managed Johnny. Like
Right,
whenever Johnny
right.
was booked anywhere, she managed him.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So the plan was to like at the end she was gonna get involved, but like Johnny and Craig were down, so me and Marco were gonna hit her with like a tag team move, and like anytime the two men hit a woman, it's a big deal. And she was like, "No, let's fucking do it." Like wrestling today,
She was.
WWE stays away from that kind of shit.
She
but
was always game.
She was a trooper.
She was
Right.
always game to
Right.
do a spot because she wanted
Right.
to be in the business.
Wanted to be involved, right? So the spot we came up with was that Marco was going to put her into a suplex. She was going to get in the ring and like kind of hit me or something, and like we both. I turn around, I grab her by her hair, and anytime you do that to a woman in the wrestling ring, the crowd goes nuts. And then me and Marco kind of look at each other. I throw her to Marco. Marco puts her in a suplex position, so she's upside down. Her head is like in his armpit. Her feet are in the air, and I'm gonna super kick her face, which is in Marco's armpit, upside down. And then when I super kick her, Marco's literally gonna just drop her on her head. Like,
Well, was
that's
that-
what we did.
Was that his screwdriver? But you added
His
the super
screwdriver.
kick to it.
Right. So
That-
it was a super kick into a screwdriver.
The screwdriver-
which is funny because
The screwdriver is really impressive looking when you see Marco do it.
Right.
When you add that super kick to it, it is a phenomenal.
which Kyle O'Reilly and Adam, what's his name? Fish. Kyle. What's his name?
Fish, yeah,
Fish.
Bobby Fish.
Bobby Fish. They do it.
Yeah.
The same kind of thing.
But you guys
So-
were doing it before.
But this was
Yeah.
before that, right?
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, we do it. The whole place goes nuts. Like the crowd was so rowdy that night for that match. Like I mean, there's food everywhere. She's knocked out. The match ends, and I remember looking, and there's just like literally the entire building is covered in food, and like there's tomato on a wall, like all in the backside.
I don't
And
think they
we
ever.
got to the
I don't think they ever ran there again in that
no,
building.
we got to the back, and Johnny was like, "We are so fucked," and I'm
Yeah,
like, "My bad." Like I was like, "I didn't think it was gonna get like this." And Johnny was so mad at me, but he couldn't be mad because like I was like his older brother, so like
right.
he couldn't. Like he was really mad at me, but
Plus,
not
plus, you were
like
coming at that time. You were coming from South Carolina to work his shows.
I was.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, I was. I was in South
you're
Carolina,
doing him
so
a huge
that was
favor.
wild.
Yeah, yeah.
That was fucking wild. Yeah, that was wild. But that's Tomatogate.
Well,
Uh,
also, I'll like that. I believe that was the same night, same building, where Drew was telling us a story later about where he's in the back with Brandy Lauren, and Brandy's
right,
talking about cramps or something, and
right,
and Drew gives her the advice to drink pickle juice for it. And
right.
for I don't remember the exact, maybe you remember the exact like recounting of it, but he was so mad at her because she had asked him his advice, and then
Right.
like when he gave it, she like either like totally dismissed it out of hand,
She did dismiss it.
just dismissed it out of hand. And like
Right,
that
right,
offended Drew so much because he's Mr. Fitness, Mr. Trainer, Mr.
right.
He gets paid to create meal plans and workout schedules for
At that
people.
time, he was
Yeah.
like doing that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think he still does. I wouldn't know
I
because
don't
none of
know.
us are in touch with him right now. He's still out getting cigarettes. But yeah, there was all this other Tomatogate stuff's going on. But there was also this side story where Drew was so mad at
Right.
Brandy Lauren
So mad.
over pickle juice.
Right. So mad.
So mad, like
Because
offended.
she
Like he
wasn't
took it
listening. She wasn't.
personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, she wasn't
Right.
listening to him. She had basically asked him and he's telling her and like she's just like not having it and he's like fucking livid over it. It was tremendous. I almost want to call
I
Drew
think.
right
I
now.
think she thought he was kidding.
I think I yeah, I she may have thought he was ribbing her, but like pickle juice is like I'll tell you this. Like nothing validates that advice more than me knowing that Zach Thomas, sorry, why did I say
From the
Taylor?
Miami Dolphins,
Zach
former Miami
Thomas,
Dolphin.
one of the greatest linebackers that ever played for the Miami Dolphins,
Right.
used to have pickle juice on the sideline that he used to chug when he would come on and off the field to keep his like to keep from dehydrating,
From cramping.
to keep from cramping, to keep his electrolytes up. That he drank fucking straight pickle juice. He didn't drink Gatorade. He didn't drink fucking whatever other, powdered drinks they would dissolve in those big coolers that they would dump on coaches' heads later if they won. None of that. He drank fucking straight fucking pickle juice.
Yeah. And I remember Drew telling me that. Like, Drew was big on vinegar and pickle juice.
Yeah. I mean,
Vinegar was to lose weight.
it's atrocious. It's fucking atrocious.
No.
But if you're disciplined and you take things seriously, that's what you got to do. But I think
I'm not serious.
I think that was also Brandy was still kind of like, listen, I don't want to bury anyone, but I think that was still at the point where I think she was seeing Jay Lethal, and he was also like training her, and she was kind of
Right.
like doing the name dropping thing, like letting people know that like
Right.
either her boyfriend or her trainer was Jay Lethal. There's a little bit of name dropping going on with that.
She did a lot, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you would know more than me. You were in the fucking locker rooms more than I was. I think that was also going at the time, so she may have had heat with that.
Yeah, it was.
Which
Right,
then, when
right.
you don't take someone's pickle juice advice on top of the Jay
Yeah,
Lethal name
right.
dropping, it kind of doubles down on the heat. So I don't know.
Right,
But,
you're talking about Drew, who's a monster.
right.
You know?
I mean,
Right.
Drew, who knows his shit. I mean,
Right.
he does go off the rails, get experimental at times where, like,
Right.
for a competition, they're having him smoke fucking menthol cigarettes every hour on the
Right,
hour.
right.
Or when the first time I ever met him at one of Mark's Uproar shows, when he showed up, I couldn't stop looking at him while I was talking to him, and I felt like maybe I was going to make him uncomfortable with the way I was staring at him. But he was he was fucking a shade of purple I'd never seen on a human being. And like completely flaky, like all of his skin was dried out. And it was because he was taking some kind of Russian pill that was supposed to like
I remember that.
that was supposed to like do some kind of tanning thing. But he wasn't tan, he wasn't red. He was fucking a shade of purple. And I was like trying to have these normal conversations with him, but I could not stop staring at him. And I didn't know if he thought that was intense eye contact or like me just staring at the obvious, that he was like walking around like a fucking grape. So yeah, I don't know. But I love Drew. I miss Drew, and one day I'll pick up the phone and we'll touch base again.
Probably doesn't even have the same number.
I'm not worried about it.
We'll find him.
I have a feeling my relationship with Drew, with one phone call, will be stronger than my relationship with Marco right now. So, anyways. Come on, I gotta listen.
Wow.
It's not like you've taken a Blake Chadwick shot in a while. I may as well take a few Marco shots in place.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you know what I mean. By the way, he's been no selling my passive aggressiveness in our fucking chat.
I know.
We finally had to like tag team and try and push him, and it didn't even really work that well. He doesn't give a shit anymore. You could tell.
No.
You can tell. Married with children life has set in. He has become Al Bundy. He's for 8 hours he leaves, he goes sells shoes or whatever or whatever he's doing, backflows, same fucking thing at this point. He comes home, he's resigned to his fucking life. He puts a hand down his pants, he tunes out the world and just hopes he doesn't wake up the next day. And when he does, he's like, God damn it.
Wow.
Listen, I gotta take the shots. It's all good. We're all laughing and fuck it. It's his.
I mean, me and you are laughing. Who cares if anybody else is?
Right. No, it's at his expense, and since he won't listen anyways, we might as well get over on it. So fuck it.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know if you got anything else. You know, we need to start. We might have to, like, the next podcast do some updates on some plot threads that we haven't touched on in a while.
Right.
You know, like Nick the Dick and, you know, shit like that.
Yeah.
Are you still gonna be Coach Slambino, or what's going on with that?
No, I don't think. Well, I did just get a text message to call somebody about it, so we'll see. But I don't think we're going to do it.
Yeah, why? Because you're too fat and lazy, or because not enough people want to do it?
We can't get enough kids. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I would rather blame you for it than the kids, but whatever it is, it is.
Yeah.
Did you eat? So you ate that Big Mac?
It was not good.
Yeah, but you ate it all, right?
Yeah. It was like all bread.
The whole podcast I've been thinking about what I want to order for dinner tonight, to be honest with you.
That wasn't dinner. That was an appetizer.
Yeah, no, I understand. I'm not saying you ate dinner, but I'm just saying this whole podcast, like a 10% of my brain has been spent like weighing over options, trying to think like, you know, what takeout menus do I have in the drawer? What can I pull up online? What do I really want? Weigh all the options, and I haven't decided on anything. So I'm glad we're going to wrap this up because I have more important things to do right now. I have to concentrate.
Yeah, all right, I'm done with you.
Yeah, all right. Well, I'm glad you're done with me because ironically,
I just got to let you know that the last 10 minutes of this podcast, I've been on the toilet bowl. So, you know, I got the squatty potty. I got
Wait. Are you actually able to get your feet up on the squatty potty?
I bought the mini one.
Because I know you were having a problem there for a while, being able to get your knees high enough to get your feet up on it.
I've been stretching.
Maybe you have actually been working out. If you're actually getting your feet up on the squatty potty, this sounds.
I haven't. I've been stretching every night.
Oh my God! Watch out. You know what? I'm going to declare it now. I'm going to enjoy this week. I'm going to, like, you know, not be a pig, but every day eat once and have a nice fucking meal. And this weekend, I am going to weigh in and join this competition.
Ooh.
I have a game plan. I'm going to put my weight in, as embarrassing as it's going to be, as humbling as it's going to be, and I am going to school the both of you. You and fucking Speedy McSpeedy. By the way, I want to give, because I know Speedy will hear this. That picture of Scott Hall is tremendous. I don't know when you took it. It's a beautiful picture. I liked it so much that when I saw one of the other workers post it for their like little Twitter tribute to Scott, and they had cropped your fucking watermark out, I actually got indignant on your behalf and almost fucking made a comment. But I figured, listen, let's not fucking kick up dirt on someone's grave. So let's not do a dust up. Everyone just wants to pay a tribute. So, but it's such a beautiful picture, and so well done that I wanted to at least give him credit for it. And I think we should have.
And he's wearing our shirt.
Huh?
Yeah,
and
we should.
He was wearing our shirt, but this was before that. So he was wearing the Breakfast Club shirt. So anyway, I'm done with you as much as you're done with me, and let's go solve our food situations here, and I will talk to you.
I gotta wipe. Goodbye.
I'll talk to you in 2 days, there, fat boy.
All right, bye. Yeah, goodbye.
I love that you've been on the toilet for like the last 10 minutes. You've probably
my legs are going numb.
I love that. Like, not only are you Riggs in Lethal Weapon 2, where your legs have gone numb and you can't get off the toilet, even though there's a bomb on it, but you're probably all dried up back there, and like cleanup's going to be a hassle because now you got to get the chisel out. All right, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Later,
right,
later, fatty.